You wanna press.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another hobby tip. Now for this hobby tip I'm going to be showing you guys how I sculpt fur. This was covered in an episode of Enter the Wolf Time a long while ago, but due to the fact that people want to know how to sculpt fur, I'm going to do it again in a hobby tip. So what are we going to need? Primarily, we're going to need some green stuff. You're also going to need a surface to sculpt your fur on. Obviously when you guys are sculpting fur, it will be a model. You will need either a sculpting tool like this and like this, or a craft knife like this. I prefer to sculpt my fur using a craft knife because it gets a finer cut and a finer line, but some people prefer to use this because it adds a more, sculpted touch to it. But anyway, let's get started. This is the first technique I'm going to show you. Second technique after this, I'm actually going to use a different tool, and I'll show you that in a bit. So we'll just zoom in. I have to change the camera angle for you guys because I realised that being left-handed, the over-the-shoulder shot from the left, you actually wouldn't see anything. So what we're going to do, what we're going to start off with when doing fur, is you're going to start off by rolling out some sausage shapes like this. So, well, actually no, not like that really. And let's make them a bit smaller. So you start off by rolling down some green stuff sausages. And then we're just going to place one on there like that. Going to roll this one out, place it there like that. Again, you guys can do this a lot more carefully, and obviously you can change this in terms of size depending on what you're sculpting. I'm just doing this for display purposes only. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take our sculpting tool. I always give mine a bit of a lick just to lubricate it up, and then I hope you guys appreciate this is very difficult for me because I'm having to look through a tripod. And all you do is you just carve lines into the green stuff, and you try and overlap it. It also, in regards to sculpting fur, it helps if you've got a slightly more malleable green stuff. So mix a great quantity of yellow in, that way it stays sculptable for a lot longer, and also it's a lot more workable. And your craft knife or your sculpting tool will just go through it really, really easily. Just flatten that bit down. Remember the golden rule, lube your tool. Okay, let's have a zoom in on that. Bit too close. So there we go. As you can see, we're starting to build up a fur effect. Now, sometimes it's good when you're doing fur to press in and really fray the ends, because let's face it, at the end of hair, what do we get? Well, us blokes aren't really prone to getting it, but you get split ends, so it does help. I suppose if you're a long-haired bloke, you get split ends. So if you just fray the ends like that, there you go. Don't forget to lube your tool. Now, sculpting fur was one of the first things I learned, and I learnt it kind of out of a necessity, because obviously I was doing Space Wolves, so sculpting fur was pretty much essential. Okay guys, so there we go. There's fur. Obviously, what you guys would do, if you're doing fur capes and stuff like that, you would tuck this top bit here in, or if you just want to do like a lump of fur, alternatively, you could just turn it round, and the camera goes all out of focus. Crazy. There we go. You could just turn it around, move it over to the side so you can actually get to it, and you could just re-sculpt it like that. So there we go. There's some fur. That's one part of the fur that we're actually going to look at. The next part is what I call plucked fur, so just bear with me a second, guys. I'll get my other tool. Okay guys, now with that technique, we looked at using the glaive kind of rounded off sculpting tool. It looks like that. For this technique, we're actually going to use the hooked sculpting tool, which is like this. Now, this one, I tend to do this if it's not natural fur, if it's just, or if it's not fur that's on a beast, or I'm not looking to do a fur cloak. If we just want some other texture, maybe to the top of a cape. So what we'll do, we'll zoom in and I'll show you. Now with this one is a lot easier, although it can be a little bit more hassle in regards to the actual work. Not really hassle, should I say. It's tiring on the wrist and the hand, because you've got to do a lot of vicious kind of stabbing, and this is what I call the plucked fur effect. So all you do, literally, you get a lump of green stuff, you put it over the area that you want to make into fur, and all you do then is you literally just attack it. You just attack it with the hooked bit, and what we're doing here is we're just digging it up and we're plucking at it with that hook. Sometimes it helps if you turn it round so you can get to a different angle. Now the quicker, not necessarily the quicker, the closer together you do these plucks, the finer the fur will look. Now I wish I had an example, however the only examples I've really done this effect on are commissions that I've sold. I believe I discovered this one when I was doing a commission a long time ago. It was a, I can't remember what it was, but it was a marine with a great big dock-off sword and a really cool-ass cape, and I didn't want to do like Space Wolf fur, so Storm Warden, that was it. It was the Storm Warden model I did many years ago. As you can see, guys, as we're plucking it and stabbing away at it, it's forming kind of like, try and zoom in a little bit more, it's forming like a matted kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a very coarse, wiry kind of hair. Now, you could, I mean, this is a great effect if you're sculpting a monster or a beast, because it means that you don't have to be very precise as you do with that kind of fur. You can just go for hell for leather and just like pluck all over. But yeah, that's how I do the plucked fur effect. As you can see there, looks quite nice, and it's just a little bit different for those of you guys that are tired of sculpting a regular fur like that. As with all green stuff work that I do, I'll say this one little tip: if you think you've got it, leave it, let it dry, don't touch it, because it's very tempting to try and rework something, and more often than not, what happens is you end up making more of a mess, and then you have to start completely from scratch. So if you think you've got it, leave it. That's my one tip when green stuffing. Also, if you've done like a green stuff cape or you've done fur like this, let the model dry before handling it, because again, more often than not, I've picked on a model to look at it and I've gone, my thumb's gone straight in it and it's gone like that. And it's made horrible fingerprints in your green stuff. But anyway, guys, that is a fur sculpting tutorial for you. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something. And yeah, have a good one. See you again. Goodbye.